Okay, what is the program we discussed? Like, what is the program we thought of creating? Let me show you again. Before going to write, we analyze the program and so I'm going to create a program ZDemo PO data report. Provide the title. Select the type as what is that program type you have to take?
Execute.
Executable program. Save it. Save it in the local package. What do you mean by package?
In the storage area.
Yeah, some like package is just like folder where you want to save this program in which application component. Is it related to sales and distribution or is it related to material management? So that we can transport or we can move this program to development system to test system and then test system to production system. Okay, right?
Yes, sir.
If you assign it to the local object, you cannot transport or you cannot move this program from development to test system. Okay, when you assign it to local object, you cannot move this program or any change from development to test system. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
So why we are assigning the local object? Just for convenience. Okay, after few days we are going to stop assigning or we are going to stop using local object. Okay, we are going to assign the programs or any objects with the relevant package name. Okay, what is the purpose of the program?
Purchase order data.
To
Program
display
is to display the purchase
purchase
order data. What is the input?
by date,
Then the is
Vendor input. Date and
vendor.
vendor.
Okay, I want to display the data by specific date, between dates. For example, last 10 days purchase orders. Purchase orders created in the past 10 days or purchase orders created for a specific vendor. Okay, I'm going to select data based on that selection criteria or inputs. That is the inputs for my program. Okay, okay. Now what are the data I need? I need data from EKKO table. What is EKKO?
Header data.
Purchase
Header
order.
data,
Header
purchase
purchase
order,
order.
header data. Go to the table and check what are the fields required. I'll select few fields. EBLN is the primary key. What is EBLN?
purchase document
Document
number.
number.
Purchase document
Purchase
number.
Purchasing document.
From EKKO, take EBLN company code. What is the company code?
Buckers.
And I don't need much details
A.
from this. I'll take AEDAT, created data of the purchase order. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I think vendor is also there. Vendor is also here.
Listener.
Lifter.
Yes.
What is the vendor master table?
First one, sir. Listener.
No, that is field.
Yeah. Field, sir. LFA1.
LFA1 is the customer master table. Go to help check. Yeah, Yeah, sorry, you are right. KNA1 is customer master table. You are right. LFA1 is a
Yes,
vendor
sir.
master table. Listener. So here it is assigned as a check table. Next, I will.
Interview.
So this is header data, purchase order header data, right? Now I
Yes,
need to display purchase order item data. What is the item data we need to display? Okay,
yes, sir.
select the fields. So I'm going to select EBLN, EBLP. These two are the primary keys. EBLN, EBLP, and material
Partner.
number, partner. And I want the price and the quantity. What is the price of this material? MENG is the quantity.
Quantity.
Okay. What is mains? Next field MEINS. This is unit of measurement. Quantity. What is the
Yes,
unit of measurement for that quantity value? Is it in liters, kgs, or is it per unit? Like that. Okay. Got the total quantity of this purchase order item from MEINS and MENG. So this is the very important data in header in item level. Okay. What is the quantity and what is the price? Okay. What next? Price.
net price
NETWR.
unit.
See, there are two. This is also NETPR. NETPR also price only. But how it is different from NETWR?
Net price and price.
Ah, NETPR is the this one. NETPR is the per unit price, right? What is
Yes,
the
sir.
price per unit? Like what is the price per kg or what is the price per liter? What is the NETWR? Total price of this purchase order item. For example, this purchase order quantity, material quantity is 100. 100 into that price, for example, 10 rupees. The total price we are going to maintain in NETWR field, right? Now, what is the other data we need? We need vendor name. We have vendor number, listener, but I want to display it as a name. Along with vendor number, I want to display the name. What is the table to get the vendor name?
LFA1.
LFA.
From
Yeah.
LFA1, what are the data I need to display? Select
Vendor name.
vendor number
Vendor name.
and vendor name.
Vendor name.
LFA.
Yeah, sorry. Name one is the field. If you want country, other data, it is available here. Vendor address, everything. So what is the other tables we need to select data? So we have material number. Do you know what is that number means? Do you know what is 100? What is the material? We need description also, right?
Description.
For material.
Yes, sir.
What is the text table for material?
MAKT.
MAKT is the text table for material. So we are going to select Matner and
Language.
material text.
Next class.
Spross is language key. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So by using Spross, we are going to maintain this material name in different languages. Okay. So I got my data. What is the data? I need to select from these tables. I'm selecting only required fields. Even there are hundreds of fields in each table, I'm not selecting all the fields. I'm selecting only necessary required fields, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now this is the data I'm going to select using select statements. Okay. What is the input? What is the input to select this data?
Common field.
First one is not common field. Create a date.
Created date and vendor.
Yeah, vendor number. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We'll take two inputs. If required, you can take more than two or any number of inputs. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
we are taking it as select option so that we can provide multiple values as input. We can provide range of data as input also. You know the difference, right? Difference between parameter and select option.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you are using the parameter and if you are not entering any value in parameter, is it going to work? Is
No,
that
sir.
select statement is going to work? No.
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 If you are using select option and you did not enter anything as input in the select option, how it is going to behave?
It
Taking all the
executable for all the
Yeah, it's
data.
going to select all
inputs
the
present
data.
in.
It's going to select all the data of the table. Okay. So what is the select option structure?
Select options.
Okay. I'm asking about select option structure.
Select required fields.
Select
In.
I'm
low, high,
asking about,
sign,
yeah, I'm asking
low,
that one.
high, sign and option.
Yes, I'm asking that one. Why are you confusing? We discussed it multiple times.
So,
Now, you know what are the inputs of the program and you know what is the data we need to select using select statements. Now, after combining all this data, we have to form one output record. What is that record?
final.
Final record is like this. EBLN, EBLP, and I want to display company code. It is not necessary to
Buckets.
it is not necessary to display all the fields what are you selecting in the select statements. Okay.
Okay, sir.
I want to display this. If you want, you can add this
Clear,
field
madam.
also. Okay. If you don't want to display the company code, you can just remove it. That doesn't mean that we are selecting it in the select statement. That doesn't mean that we need to display it in the output. Okay.
Okay, sir.
From EKPO, what is the data we need to display? We are already
E.
using EBLP.
Also use it as
EBLN is also there.
Matner.
Matner. From which table these
Mat.
details are from? From EKPO.
EKPOs. Names. Net.
So this is the data. I have to display from EKPO. And next field is name, vendor name. We're already using vendor name. We'll place vendor name next to vendor number. Material, then material name, right? Sorry, material description.
Description.
It is MAKTX. We'll place that here. So this is the final output. I need to display.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Clear? Any questions? Any questions on this?
No, sir.
Okay. So whenever someone give you a requirement, analyze like this. Okay. What is the logic they are expecting? What is the input they are expecting? Okay. And what are the tables you need to select? And what is the output data?
నార్మల్గా మీరు ఫీల్డ్స్ ఇవి ఇవి అని చెప్పారు కాబట్టి మేము ఇవి సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకోవాలని తెలిసింది. రేపు మాకు ఎలా తెలిసింది సార్ పర్టికులర్గా ఈ ఫీల్డ్స్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకోవాలని చెప్పి?
That's what I'm asking. The client will ask you, right, what they are expecting, what is their functionality, what is the functionality they are expecting. They'll give you that requirement. Okay.
ఓకే సార్.
I want to see this data as output. I want to do this calculation, right?
అంటే సార్ మీరు డేట్ వెండర్ అని చెప్పగానే ఇంకా నెట్ మ్యాట్ ఎంఈఎన్జి ఎంఈఐఎన్ఎస్ నెట్ ఎన్ఈడిడబ్ల్యూఆర్ ఈ ఫీల్డ్స్ అని కంపల్సరీ అని చెప్పేసి చేశారు కదండి అలా.
No, that doesn't mean that they are compulsory, right? If you are taking vendor number as input, that doesn't mean that you are going to use vendor ID and vendor name. Okay. These are just inputs based on what inputs you need to select the data. Okay. That doesn't mean that you are going to use only these fields. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So when you are building the program, when someone asks you to create a program for purchase order data, if they don't provide any inputs, you have to ask them what are the inputs you are expecting to filter the data, by what fields you want to filter the data. Is it by company code or is it by vendor number? How you want to select the data, right? You have to ask them if they don't provide you any details. Okay.
ఓకే.
And you have to ask them what are the fields and what is the data you want to display as a output. Okay.
ఓకే సార్.
So
Okay, sir.
if they tell you, if they tell you that I want to see purchase order company code data, purchase order created date, and purchase order price quantity, and purchase order material details, and purchase order vendor data, then you have to analyze. Okay, from which table I am going to get purchase order header data, and from which table I am going to get quantity and price, from which table I am going to get vendor name and material description, right? Based on that,
Yes, sir.
you have to select the fields. Okay. And in sometimes a functional consultant will give you a requirement document. In that requirement document, he will clearly mention what are the inputs they are providing and what is the expected output and what are the tables you need to use. Functional consultants will clearly give you in the functional specification document. Okay. Only thing is
ఓకే.
you have to convert it into a program by using ABAP report. Okay.
ఓకే సార్.
It doesn't mean that you need to do everything. Okay. You
ఓకే
just
సార్.
need to create a program, depends on the requirement. If you have any questions, you can ask them about the requirement. Okay, what are the tables you need to use, what are the fields you need to use, you can ask them. Okay. Now start creating the program. What is the first step? When creating the program, what is the first step in creating the program?
Declaring
Define the
where
Variable, sir. Select options when
inputs.
while
Those are not
using
variables, parameters, inputs. Define the selection screen. Okay. What does the selection screen contains?
inputs.
Yeah. With frame. So it will create some frame for the input fields. Okay. End of block B1. Okay. In between this, we define the select options. First define the variables for select options.
LV
What is the
underscore
field? What is the first input field? AEDAT, right? AEDAT
yes,
from EKKO table. AEDAT from EKKO. What is the type of that AEDAT? ERDAT. ERDAT. Um, data LV underscore date.
type ERDAT
ERDAT.
LV underscore type LV ELI.
Okay. Now define the select options.
Okay, sir.
Uh, SO underscore date
underscore date for LV underscore
for
for
LV underscore
SO
LV underscore
date.
date
S1 underscore
S underscore
type
vendor
for LV underscore
LV
vendor.
underscore
See,
vendor.
is it going to work if I take like this?
More than
Yeah, you should not define parameter or select option more than 8 characters.
more than 8.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. When. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Check the syntax. I'm activating it. Check the. So this is my selection screen. Okay.
Okay, sir.
This is my selection screen. So what we need to do? We need to assign selection text or labels for this technical names, right?
Yes, sir.
Each and every step is very important. Please make a running notes. Then maintain text elements. Go to text elements and maintain the selection text. DO created date,
Vendor.
vendor. Activate it, maintain the selection text and activate. Go back and check. Now execute the program. So you're going to display some meaningful names because users cannot understand what is SO underscore date, right? They don't know what they need to enter here, right?
Yes, sir.
You provide a proper description for the field. Okay, they can understand that, okay, I need to provide when the purchase created date. Okay, what is the date of purchase order creation? Okay, so we are done with the selection screen. Actually, there is one more option. So you can use this selection screen begin of block, end of block to separate the different types of inputs. Okay. You can also add frame and title. Title, use text symbol, text hyphen, where you are going to maintain the text symbols.
Text elements.
Yeah,
Go to.
maintain the name in text element. Text symbol, go to 0001, or you can just enter the name. It will automatically assign the number. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's automatically assigned 001. Copy this double
Yes,
zero
sir.
one and maintain here. Okay. So it will be displayed like this. Okay. Enter input
Yes, sir.
data. Clear? So if you want a different block, you can define using different block name, that is B2. Okay. Just activate and check how it is going to display. Execute. Sorry, I have to change it to B2. Oh no, 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 no. This I've already changed it. Just define one some parameter. P underscore test type char1. So it will be displayed like this, okay, as a different block. Okay. So we're done with the selection screen design. Now, what is the next step? The selection screen. Analyze. Is there any default values to be populated, so that every time the user don't need to enter the values in the selection screen. He can directly execute the program without entering any values. Okay. How can you provide default values for a selection screen inputs? Here, every time I don't need to enter the values. I want to see some default values whenever I executed it, so that I can just execute and display the output. Since here we have only two input fields, it is easy to enter. But in some programs, there will be 10 or 15 input fields. Every time they need to enter the data, right?
Yes, sir. But
So,
in selections, no need, sir.
sorry, what?
In selections, to execute just output వస్తుంది కదా సార్.
How? They need to enter the input data, right? So, so what is the data they want to display? What is the date range they want to use? What is the vendor number they want to see the data? They need to enter the input, right? Then only they can
After
see,
input, sir.
yeah, then only they can see relevant data as output. So
Yes, sir.
every time, to avoid complexity or to save some time for the user, so we can use default values, so that you don't need to enter every time. Okay. How can you do that? Using initialization. How can you pass default values for select options?
S1 underscore date hyphen low
For example,
is
I want
equal
to
to
see last
Oh,
10 days purchase order data date by default. For example, last 10 days date from current date. So in low,
SY hyphen datum minus 10.
10,
SO underscore data.
SO underscore. సార్ డేట్
High.
అనుకుంటా కదా సార్
yeah.
అది సార్ ఇప్పుడు హై
SY underscore datum contains current system date.
ఎస్ SO underscore date hyphen
Oh,
sign.
by sign. Do we need to select the data which we are passing here? Do you want to exclude that data?
Include సార్
Okay, if you want to include, use I.
ఐ
If you want to restrict the data what we are entering here, for example, if you don't want to see last 10 days data, what you have to pass here?
ఈ
E.
క్యాపిటల్ ఈ
Always remember, pass in capital letters, don't pass in lowercase. Okay,
ఓకే సార్
option.
నెక్స్ట్
Is it equal to or
బిట్వీన్
between?
Between.
Range, right? I want to see start date, data between start date and end date.
అప్ అండ్ SO underscore date.
So it's going to add one record to the select option structure. Okay.
Yes.
There is error. What is the error? What is the
High
error?
spelling is high, sir.
Yeah. Double click on this error. It will take you that error line. HIGH. No errors.
Yes, sir.
Activate. So by default, I'm able to see some date value. Okay. 07 to 17. If you want different values, change it. If you want to see different values data, just change as per your requirement. Okay. You can change the default values. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now we're done with selection screen and we are done with populating the default values. What is the next step? What is the next event sequence?
Vendor.
What is the next event? I don't want to pass any default values
Red
for vendor.
selection. Red selection.
Okay, sir. At
Okay.
selection screen.
Yeah, next event is red selection screen. What do we do here? Net selection screen event.
To validate the selection
Yeah,
screen
we are going to
inputs.
validate the selection screen inputs. What are the types of validations? What are the different types of validations? Okay, let's take date. First, we'll take date. How many ways you can validate this date? The first criteria is I want to make sure there is some value in the date. I don't want to allow a empty value in this input. The user must enter some date. Otherwise, it's going to execute all the records, right? It's going to fetch all the records, right?
Yes, sir.
For example, if you take a large company like Amazon, how many purchase orders data there will be available in a table? Millions of records, right? Crores of records. if we don't provide the date, what will happen? It's going to select all the data, right?
Yes, sir.
Unnecessarily, it's going to select all the data. That's why analyze the inputs. What are the inputs that are mandatory? So I want to make so underscore date as a mandatory input. There should be some value, at least some value in the date. Otherwise, I should not allow the program to be executed, right? How
Yes,
can you
sir.
do that? That is one type of validation. We are checking at least there. We are checking at least there is some value or not. Some value. We don't know whether it is a valid value or not, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the second type of validation? So user entered some value, but we need to validate whether it is a proper value
Ah,
or not. Proper value or not.
okay, sir.
So for example, user entered something here in the date field. PO created date. Is it a valid date?
No.
No, sir.
What is the first type of validation? We need to make sure there is some value in input. Is it pass or not? If you enter this value, the first validation is successful or not?
Yes.
There is some
Input
value.
work
There is some value. What is the second validation? We need to
correct.
validate
To
whether it
check
is a
whether it is a
proper value or not, right?
Yes, sir.
Two types of validation. For date, check for vendor, same. If you want to make vendor as a mandatory field, how can you do that? There should be some value in vendor field. For example, if I enter like this, this is I entered some value. First validation is successful. What is the next validation? I need to make sure that this is a valid vendor number or not. This is a valid vendor number or not. How can you check whether it is a valid vendor number or not? How can you say this vendor number is valid or not? We've already discussed this. How can you say a
Yes.
particular employee ID is a
Initialize.
valid employee ID or not?
Already stored in a database.
Right?
We check in.
That should be stored in the check table. That should be available in the check table, right? This
Yes, sir.
value that should be available in the check table. See, we cannot check date like that, right?
Yes,
Because there is no check table for date. Date is a general value. But if you take vendors, there should be a master data, like employee master data, like student master data. Vendor should also contains a master data. If this vendor number is available in that check table, so that we can make sure that we can say that this is a valid vendor. Otherwise,
valid.
this is not a valid vendor number. Please enter valid vendor number. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So we need to check against the database check table. That is the second type of validation. Okay.
Okay, sir.
For few fields, we won't check in database. For example, dates, time, like that. Okay. For example, for company codes, vendor numbers, customer IDs, these things we can check in the database whether this value is existing in a check table or not. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. You should not allow any junk values, right, to be executed.
Yes.
Before that, you have to validate it first. I'm going to write it on date. If so underscore date hyphen low is, or so underscore date is not, sorry, is initial. What does this mean? Is initial means there is no
Should has.
value. Is initial means there is no value in this. It is empty. What do you mean by not initial? Not initial
At least
means
one.
there is
At
some
least
value
one.
available. Okay. Is initial means there is no value. Message. Is initial means there is no date. Then message enter valid date. What is the type of the message?
error message.
Yeah, type E in capital letters. Okay.
Sir, message also we write as a text
Yeah,
symbols.
text symbol. Always use text symbol instead of hard coded values. Okay.
Yes.
For now, I'm just writing here to save some time. You
Okay,
guys
sir.
use only text symbols for messages. So what is the next validation? Vendor number, right?
Yes, sir.
Vendor number. We should make sure that that value is available in database table also, right?
Yes, sir.
How can you do that? For now, we'll just check only date. We'll make it vendor number as optional. New printer. Okay, I'm done with the selection screen validation. What is the next step? Writing the business logic.
Start of selection.
Startup.
Start of selection. So what is the first table? We need to select data.
EKKO.
EKKO table.
Final, sir, final output already తీసేసుకున్నాం కదా సార్.
Okay. So
టైప్ స్ట్రక్చర్ రాసి
yeah, these are okay. Yeah, this is the final output we need. Okay, what is your question?
అవును సార్.
Yeah, what is your question? Tell me, please.
ఆహా, అంటే ఏం లేదు సార్. ఫైనల్ అవుట్పుట్ తీసుకున్నాం కాబట్టి టైప్ స్ట్రక్చర్ రాసేసి సెలెక్ట్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్ రాసుకుంటే సరిపోతుంది కదా సార్ అని.
That's it. Yes. So type structure, your type structure, final output type structure is like this. Maintain in the same order like output
ఎస్ సార్.
here in the same order. Okay.
ఓకే సార్.
Someone traveling. How dedicated you are. I'll place EBLP next to EBLN. Don't repeat the field. EBLN is already there. Don't take it two times. Every field should be unique. So these are the fields, right? EBLN,
ఎస్ సార్.
EBLP, bookers, create a date, listener. Okay, place vendor number
నేమ్
next to material number, material text. Don't need listener again.
Yes, sir.
This is the data, right? What we are expecting. Standard
Standard
table of
table of
EY underscore
tables. Final
final. Take one work area also.
underscore final. Type table underscore final.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So these are final input structure. Now tell me what are the select statements we need to write. So what are the select statements we need to write? Tell me.
Mm.
So what are the select statements we need to write? Tell me the first select statement. It's very clear, right? We need to select
Yes, sir.
4 fields from EKKO. And what is the select statement we need to write? Select statement on EKKO,
Select.
right?
Yes, sir.
With these required fields, EBLN, Booker, CEDAT and Listener. First write that select
Yes, sir.
statement. Select
Select
EBELN,
EBLN Bookers
comma, AEDAT,
AET Listener
Listener,
from EKK
EKKO,
into table
into table, great data,
error table
uh,
ID underscore
ID
EKKO
underscore EKKO,
where
where
EBELN కాదు sir.
AEDAT. What is the input we are taking here? Create a date, right?
Select options.
Create a date,
Yes, sir.
right? What is
Okay,
this select
yes.
option? This is create a date, right? E.
Yes, sir.
We have to take AEDAT of EKKO as input. Based on created date, we are selecting the data in date.
At the rate of underscore date.
And what is the another select? One is the another input we are taking vendor number,
Vendor.
right?
Vendor number.
Listener in SO underscore.
Yes.
Vendor. When.
Is that the name we are taking?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
When,
SO
sir.
underscore when. That's it. That is the first select statement, right?
Yes, sir.
We got the header data, purchase order header data.
If SY hyphen sub RC is not equal to 0.
Equal to 0. If it is equal to 0,
Oh,
proceed further.
okay.
What is the next data we need to select?
From EKP.
EKP.
Purchase order item data we need to select. What is the input to select this purchase order item data? So this contains many records, right? EKPO data contains many records, right?
Yes, sir.
So you need to specify what is the data that you need to select. Here, to select the header data, we are using these input options, input select statements. Sorry, select options. Do we have vendor number in EKPO?
No,
No,
sir.
we don't have vendor number in EKPO. But how we are going to select data from EKPO table? So we already selected the header data, right? We
Yes, sir.
need item data for this header data, right? One EBLN number contains multiple items, right?
Yes, sir.
We need to select those item data from EKPO for the all EBLN numbers selected from header data. For all the header records selected here. So here by passing these filters, we are going to select some records, right, into this internal table IT underscore EKKO
Yes, sir.
based on this criteria, based on these inputs. So we need to select items for all these header records. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
How can you write that? So there is some data in this internal table after executing the select statement with all the EBLN numbers. I need corresponding item data from EKPO, right? I don't want all the data. I want only item data for the records selected here. How can you do that? Write the select statement. Select EBLN, EBLP, partner. What are the other fields?
Means network. Means network.
From which table?
EKPO
EKPO.
into table at the rate of data ITMS
Hmm.
where
What is the data we need to select? Okay. Where?
EBEN
Okay. Okay.
is equal to
Okay.
uh,
LT underscore EKKO hyphen ability.
Like this. Okay. Check the syntax. LT underscore EKKO double N is unknown. It is not able
S
to identify this here. You cannot provide internal table inputs like this. You have to use a
at
special
the rate of
statement that is for all entries in which table? This header table.
data.
I want to select item data for all the records available in header table. What are the records that contains in the header table? All the EBLN numbers were selected in the first select statement. In the next step, I want to select item data for all those header data, right?
Yes, sir.
That will be like this. Purchase order number, for example, company code 100 or company code A100, vendor, some vendor number, purchase order 2000, for example, different vendor, some vendor number. This is header data. Just assume this is the header data. And, now how item data will be look like? For this header data, the corresponding item data will be like this. EBLP 010, material number 100, okay, quantity, price for 1000 again. Let's assume there is one more item that contains different material, that is material 200, the different price and quantity. Like that you might have any number of items, depends on the number of materials you are purchasing. For 2000, like this. Clear?
Okay, sir.
This is the item data. So one purchase order number might contain more than one item data. For this 1000 purchase order number, we have two items, right? One for each material, right? So this is the header item data we need to select. So what is the item data we need to select for all these header data? So I have some header data in my internal table. I want to select item data for all those records in that internal table. I don't want all the records from the table, but only for the records which are available in my header data internal table. For that, what you need to use?
For all entries.
An option.
For that, you need to use for all entry
Or for
statement.
all
For all entries in LT underscore EKKO, where now you can use like this. Eblen equal to LT underscore EKKO, Eblen. Now check the syntax. Only thing is escape sign is missing. Just use escape sign. No errors now. Okay. So we need to use for all entries to select corresponding data of the first internal table. Okay. Clear?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So there are some prerequisites. There are some prerequisites to use for all entries. So what is for all entry statement? To select, give me a minute. So what is the use of for all entries?
To select
All the data.
To select the corresponding data of the internal table.
Internal.
Okay. Internal table means internal table 1. So we are going to select
Okay,
data
sir.
into another internal table for all the records here in first internal table. Okay.
Okay, sir.
For example, take this as header. Here, what is our header here?
EKKO.
EKKO table is our header, right?
Yes, sir.
This is the table for purchase order header data, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, you know what is for all entries now? Prerequisites to use for all entries. There are some specific rules we have to follow before using for all entries. What are the rules? First rule is okay, it should not be
Okay,
empty.
sir.
Okay, there should be at least one record in the header internal table. Okay, otherwise what will happen? Otherwise what will happen? It will select all the records. What will happen if the first internal table is empty? It will select all the records from second internal table, that is EKPO. It won't follow any condition. It won't follow the condition to select only specific records, right? Clear? So that we need to make sure that the first internal table is not
Not empty.
empty. How we can do that? How you can validate it? If, for example, if
Yes.
LT underscore HDR is is not
Finish.
initial, then proceed further. Otherwise, don't execute the next level select statement. Clear?
Yes, sir.
What is the second rule? So the header internal table should be sorted. Clear? The header internal table should be sorted in the sorted order, right? By what field? What are the fields you are going to use in your next level select statement? For example, sort lt underscore hdr by ebeln. That is the common field, right? Between both
Yes,
EKKO
sir.
and EKPO. So that is the
Yes, sir.
one which you are going to use in where condition, right? So
Yes,
you
sir.
should sort the internal table by that field. So that should be in
Sir,
sorted order. That is the second condition. Okay.
is there any importance in primary key, sir?
Yeah, always prefer to use primary key. Okay.
Okay, sir.
What is the third condition?
Okay.
There should not be duplicate records. Header table. What do you mean by duplicate records? Which one we need to consider? How can you say the header data is duplicate? For example, like this. Now tell me, let's assume this as header data. Do we have any duplicate records here? Do we have any duplicate records in the header table?
No.
No, sir.
No, right? How can you say that this is not a duplicate record? There is no duplicate records in the header internal table. This is repeating, right?
Both
Not
are
repeated.
Company code is repeating, right? Is it not a duplicate record?
Yes. Yes.
Is it a duplicate record or not? Company code is repeating, right? A100, A100. Is it a duplicate record or not a duplicate record? Tell me the answer. Say yes or no. Just say yes or no. Is there any duplicate records or not in the header data? Can you hear me?
yes, sir.
See,
డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ ప్రైమరీ దానిలో.
yeah,
ప్రైమరీ అది
yeah, there is no
డూప్లికేట్ కాదు
duplicate
సార్.
record here. There is no duplicate record, right?
ఎస్ సార్.
Here, what is our primary key? EBLN, right?
ఏబిఎల్.
Is it repeating? Is it
నో
repeating
సార్.
here? No, it is not repeating. So that it is not a duplicate record. For example, if your header internal table contains data like this, 2000 and A200 with some vendor. Now tell me, is there a duplicate record or not in the header data?
Yes, sir. It's
Yeah,
ఎస్ సార్.
that data should not be like this. Okay, you should not
Yes,
use duplicate records in the header data. Usually we should not have, because EBLN is the primary key. So you need to make sure that there is no duplicate records in the header data. How can you do that? We need to use a statement to remove the duplicate records in the header data. Delete from LT underscore header data. How can you say that there are duplicate records? By comparing a specific field, right? If you compare only EBLN, there is no duplicate records. But if you compare by company code, is there a duplicate record or not?
yes, sir.
Duplicate,
There-
sir.
Because
okay.
company code is repeating. So comparing is important. Based on what you are going to identify whether it is a duplicate record or not. We need to identify it by EBLN because it is the common key, right?
ఎస్ సార్. కామన్ కీ అండ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎ ప్రైమరీ
Yeah,
కీ.
comparing EBLN. So what it will do, if there are repeated values with the same EBLN, it will delete the duplicate records and keep only unique record. This is the statement to write. Delete adjacent duplicates from header internal table comparing EBLN. Okay,
సార్ డిలీటెడ్ డిలీట్ సార్.
sorry, delete. Okay,
డిలీట్ సార్. ఓకే సార్.
so what are the important rules to be followed before using for all entries? The header table should not be empty. The header table should be in sorted order. There should not be any duplicate records in the header table. These are the mandatory prerequisites to be followed before going to write for all entry statement. Clear? And it is a very important interview question. Commonly asked interview question. Okay, so are we implementing those rules before here in the program? No, right? Let's implement those rules. What is sub RC 0 means? Are we
Select
satisfying the
statement
first
is-
rule or not?
ఎస్ సార్.
Sub RC equal to 0 means we selected at
statement.
least one record. Select statement is successful and we are able to select at least one record, right?
ఎస్ సార్.
So then first rule is successful. The header internal table contains at least one record. Is not initial is also equal to the sub RC equal to 0 in this scenario. Okay, what is the next rule? Should be in sorted order, right? Sort the internal table, header internal table.
సారీ.
EBLN. This is the common key, right, between both tables. That's why we are sorting it by EBLN. Clear?
ఎస్ సార్.
So what is the common field between EKKO and EKPO? EBLN is the common field. What is the next step? Third rule, there should not be duplicate records, right?
డూప్లికేట్
Delete
డిలీట్
Adjacent duplicate.
delete
Yes, sir.
adjacent duplicates from
హెడర్ ఎల్టీ అండర్స్కోర్
comparing EBLN.
బిఎల్.
Okay, always sort before applying delete adjacent duplicate. Always sort it. Okay, before sort the internal table and then write delete adjacent duplicate statement. Then we are going to use our internal table in the next level data selection using for all entry statement. Clear?
Okay, sir.
Now what this for all entry statement will do? It will select the item level data for all the records selected in
The
header level,
header.
right? Now what is the next step? We selected the item data. What is the next step?
One more.
We need to select data from LFA1 table, right?
Yes, sir.
Do we need to select all the vendor numbers?
No, sir.
No. Whatever that records we selected in header data, there is some vendor numbers, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
For only those vendors, I want to select the next level data, right?
Okay, sir.
How to write the select statement? Select
Sir,
listener
listener,
name 1
name
from
from
LFA1
LFA1
Into
into table at the rate of data into underscore listener LFA1 console. Where
hmm. How to write? Do we need to select all the vendor numbers or only vendors which are selected in header data?
vendors which are selected in
vendors
header
which are
data.
Header
selected in
data, right?
header.
So what is the
Yes,
common
sir.
field between EKK1 and LFA1?
Listener.
Listener is the common field.
Listener.
Use the listener in for all entries. So select for all entries in LT underscore EKKO.
EKKO.
Where what is the condition? Common field
Listener is
equal to
Listener.
at the rate of LT underscore EKKO dash listener.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Did we follow the for all entries rules for this select statement?
No, sir.
No.
Now, sir,
No, we have
it
to
as
follow.
well.
We have to
Systems about
follow.
skills itself.
Again, we have to follow the same rules. Now tell me, do we have duplicate records when we compare it by listener? Now what is the field you have to sort? What is the common field
Sort
between EKKO and
Listener.
LFA1? Listener, right? You have
listener,
to
sir.
sort it by listener.
Listener.
And you have to delete adjacent duplicates by comparing which one?
Listener.
Listener. Now tell me,
Sir, systems about seen no need also.
we're already
Select
checking
the
here, right? If the header
start.
data is successful, what is the base table for item data?
EKKO.
What is the base table for EKPO data? Header data only, right? EKKO only, right?
EKKO.
For this vendor number, what is the base table?
EK. This also
For this
EKKO.
also EKKO, right?
Yes, sir.
If sub RC means first select statement is successful. We don't need to write it for everyone, every select statement, right?
Yes.
If EKKO select statement is successful, then we are writing these two select statements, comparing vendor number. Now, now please observe. If you delete records, for example, assume this A. Let me create one more record. This is the PO. A100 is the company code, and let's assume this is the vendor number. Now tell me, is there any duplicate records when we are selecting from the EKPO table and when we compare it by EBLN? This is EBLN.
No, sir. No duplicates when compared to UBL.
This is company code. Second field is company code. Is there any duplicate records when you compare it by company code?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
There are
Two.
3 records.
3 records. So out of this, two are duplicates,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Let's assume the third field is vendor number. Do we have any duplicate records or not when we compare it by vendor number?
Yes, sir, we have.
Yes.
Yeah. When you execute delete adjacent duplicates, what it will do? It will remove.
It will remove.
It will remove these two records
Two records.
from the
Yes,
header
sir.
data. Your internal table will be like this after
Yes, sir.
deleting the adjacent duplicates, and use that in your vendor selection, vendor name selection, select statement, right?
Yes, sir.
But if you delete the other two records, how can you display those records in the output? You can't, right? You are comparing and then deleting by vendor number, but actually they are not duplicates. When you compare it by vendor number, then only they are showing as duplicates, right? Otherwise they are not duplicates, right?
Yes, sir.
In that scenario, we are going to lose records. We are going to lose two records, right? For the two other EBL and numbers, right? Two valid EBL and numbers, right? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you are going to lose two records which we need to display in the output when you compare it by vendor. To avoid that, always use temporary internal table. Temporary internal table. If it is a non-primary key field, always remember, if you are comparing and deleting a non-primary key field from the header internal table, don't apply delete adjacent duplicates on the original internal table, that is LT underscore EKKO. Okay, take a temporary internal table like this and move the data LT underscore EKKO underscore, for example, TEM equal to
LT and
LT underscore. What are we doing here? We are moving, or we are copying all the header data to a temporary internal table. Now both tables should contain same data. Okay, now apply sort on this temporary internal table. If it is a non-primary key field, listener is a non-primary key field, right, in EKKO?
Yes, sir.
We are going to lose the records in internal table if we directly apply on the original internal table. So sort it by listener on the temporary internal table, delete adjacent duplicates from this one, comparing vendor number. Now we are not going to delete the records from original internal table. Also use same temporary also use this temporary internal table name here. Okay, clear?
సార్ అప్పుడు వేర్ కండిషన్ లో ఉన్న LT అండర్స్కోర్ EKKO కూడా టెంపరరీ.
Yeah, we have to use temporary here also. Okay,
Okay, sir.
సార్ మరి మనం ఇప్పుడు ఈ సిస్టమ్స్ అవర్స్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేయాలనుకుంటాం కదండి టెంపరీగా తీసుకున్నప్పుడు.
not necessary. Okay,
ఓకే సార్.
now we selected header data, item data, and corresponding vendor data. Okay, so we'll reduce the program. We'll add material text later because it's too late. Okay, so for now we'll display header data, item data, and vendor name. We'll display the material text in the next session. Okay, now what we need to do, we have selected header data, item data, and vendor name. Next what we need to do, we need to merge these three internal tables data, right,
Yes, sir.
into a single output structure, that is this one. This is the final output structure. For now I'll comment out this material name, material description. Okay, tomorrow we'll add it. how to do that? What is the internal table that we need to loop to merge the three internal tables data? Just apply 1 to n relationship. Which one contains n relationship and which one contain 1? Here item data is n,
Wait,
because for each header data it will contain multiple items, right?
items.
Vendor is also not n, because for each vendor number in EKKO, how many records we have in LFA1? Only one, right? In vendor master,
Yes.
it is also one. That's why loop EKPO. Loop at EKPO into, sorry, define inline work area.
Data. W score. And
Mm. We have to populate data into final internal table, right? Final work. First, we have to populate data to final work area. WA underscore final hyphen
final EB
EBLN equal to
W underscore EKPO.
hyphen EBLN.
EBL.
And what is the next field?
EBLB.
This is field to field mapping, right?
Yes, sir.
If you take same field names here in final type structure, just like table, you don't need to write it, this field to field mapping. You can just write like this. If you have more fields to be mapped, how many fields we are selecting from EBLP? 5 or 6 fields, right? We need to
Yes.
map field by field like this. Otherwise, if the field names are same both in type structure and in the table, you can do like this. Move corresponding WA underscore EKPO to WA underscore final. What it will do? It will
It
do
more.
data from WA underscore EKPO to the common fields of WA underscore final. There are some common fields, right, in WA underscore final. That is
Yes.
EBLP, EBLN, listener, material number, MENG, and MEINs. I think I missed NETWR.
Yes, sir. BWERT.
So now it will move all the common fields data to here. Okay. You don't need to map field each field. You don't need to map each field like this. Clear? You can save some time. But if the field names are different in final output structure and the CKKO table, you have to map field by field. Okay. Now, what is the data that we need to populate to final table? We already populated the item data. What is the next step? We need to
Retable.
populate the header data, right?
More.
LT underscore EKKO.
Into.
Why we are using read statement? Because
To move.
for each EBLN number,
To
we have
move
only
one.
one record in EKKO, right?
With the key.
For each EBLN, how many records we'll be having in EKKO? For each EBLN number in EKPO, how many records you can find in EKKO? Only one record, because EBLN is the primary key. For each EBLN number of EKKO, how many records you can find in EKPO? EKPO. EKPO contains item data, right? If you have multiple items for the same purchase order, you can find multiple records. If equal to 0, what is the data you need to populate to the final internal table? Hyphen EBLN you are already populating from item data. Okay, you don't need to populate it again. Company code. You can apply the same. You can move corresponding entries if you have more fields and the names are same. Okay, otherwise you can use field to field mapping like this. Hyphen AEDAT equal to hyphen AEDAT, right? We have one more field, that is listener vendor number. Okay, so done with header data. Next, what is the next step? Populate vendor name. We are not populating the vendor name, right? Where is vendor name? In a different internal table, that is LT underscore LFA1, right?
into data WA underscore into data
What is the common field here? For what is the common field?
LFNR.
Keep this inside the header data condition. If sub are equal to 0, where we have vendor number in header data, right? If this select statement
Yes,
is
sir.
successful, then only we can select the vendor number. What is the input for LFA1? Header data listener vendor number with key listener equal to, which one we take? We have to pass as input EKKO, which we are selecting here, right?
Yes, sir.
If
WA underscore final.
hyphen name1 equal to, right?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm populating header data, item data, and vendor name. What is the next step? Append this
Work area
work area
to
to internal table.
internal data.
At the end, what we need to do? We need to clear all the work areas. W
Yes, sir.
underscore final, comma, W underscore
W underscore
EKPO,
EKKO. W underscore EKKO.
LFA1. Whatever the
LFNR.
work areas you are using, just clear all. Okay. Now I am merging all the three internal table data into one internal table by using common field, right? For EKK and EKPO, what is the common field?
Yes, sir.
EBLN, right?
EBLN.
I'm reading that data and populating. For EKKO and for vendor data, what is the common field here? In EKKO, we have vendor number. I'm passing that as input to the LFA1 to get the vendor name, right?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Now,
Yes,
just
sir.
display the output.
End of selection. If in flash display IT underscore final.
Okay, but usually we
And
don't use it. We use a concept called ALV reports. I thought of introducing it today, but we don't have time. Tomorrow I'll introduce ALV reports. Clear? Now just execute the report. I'm using default values. I'm not changing anything. I have 3 records created in between last 10 days. Let me change the date. I'm changing the month. I have multiple records created in the date range. Okay. If I take
Okay, sir.
one, there are many more records created.
More reports.
So what we are doing, we are merging header data, item data, and name into a single record, right?
Yes, sir.
Purchase order number, purchase order item number. This is company code. This is created date, and this is vendor number, and this is vendor name. This is material number. We'll add material text tomorrow. This is the material quantity, and this is the unit of measurement. Okay. For
Okay,
one it
sir.
is kg, for the rest it is EA, and this is the price. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So if you remove the dates, it will select all the records available in that PO number. We are using a validation, right, on PO date, created date. Let's execute. What it is saying? Enter the valid date.
And
If you enter the date only, it will proceed further. You should select at least one single date. Okay, then it will proceed further. Because there is no data for this date, that's why it is displaying empty output. Right?
yes, sir.
There is no data for this particular date. Okay.